Hi everyone, welcome to the Soccerbeat podcast. Today we're talking Orlando Pirates and Mamelodi Sundowns, previewing the massive league clash that's coming up on Saturday at a sold-out Loftus. That's going to be a super exciting game, and because of that, we've got two expert guests. We've got Ngwenya, the master of flair, Sundowns legend, and Maponyane, who played, I think, 4 or 5 years at Pirates, got 40 goals in the famous jersey. Perfect two guests to talk about this massive game. Guys, we're going to talk about a few things today. Number one, Pirates don't have a good record in this fixture in the league. They only got one win in the last 11 league games against Sundowns. We're going to look at what can help that change. We're going to look at, the return of Mbule. He's going back to Sundowns. We let him go. He's got a point to prove. And we're going to talk a little bit about the big news that Teboho Mokoena suspended. We didn't know about this an hour ago, so it's quite big news for this game. It could have a massive effect on who wins. Guys, let's crack straight on. Shakes, let's start with the Mokoena news, actually, because that's broken in the last hour or two. And Mark said before the podcast, I hope the Sundowns team manager knew about this. I'm sure he did. But this is big news. I didn't know about it until it broke.
Cheek, by the way.
Tongue in cheek, but yeah, I mean, I don't know if Pirates knew even that they're going to play against Sundowns without Mokoena. You also hope so. But I didn't know about this an hour or two ago because that suspension happened in the cup game against Gallants. Shakes, that's a huge blow. I mean, firstly, Mokoena, yes, he's been a bit up and down, but these big games, he's the perfect player to hang your hats on. Who replaces him? Is it Obas? I mean, the only other option is Jaden Adams, who's been struggling. So that's a massive factor. What do you think about that?
Yeah, big blow, ahead of a big game like that, as you know, Mokoena, the big match player, and key player, would have been a key player in this fixture. But yeah, we don't have him. And we always say that Sundowns has got all the depth. So it's time to show now if they really have this depth. You've got Obas, who's also a national team player, so he needs to step in there. I think he's the most likely player to step in that position and carry out that role, But you've got the likes of your Nuno, who's going to be expected now to come out even more, with the absence of Mokoena. And this is a big game which will show us what Nuno is all about as well. So yeah, it's a big test come Saturday.
Yeah, let's come back to Nuno in a bit because he's going to be key. Marks, let's talk about Sipho Mbule's return. Sundowns let him go. Pirates brought him in. He's had a pretty good time this season, especially in the Bafana jersey recently, but actually he's been on the bench quite a lot for recent Pirates games. Do you see him starting? Do you see him starting as a number 10? And I mean, without Mokoena there, this could be a game for him to maybe run riots. What do you think of Mbule's return and how big of a factor is that going to be?
He's been playing well lately, as you said, especially for Bafana. And one thing that I can guess and assume is that he won't be starting. The coach would not be naive and start with him because he'll come in there wanting to prove a point, and that could also disrupt the flow of the game. So he will start him from the bench, as has been the case lately. But we have noticed that he has always made a difference when he comes in. Unfortunately, last time he came on, but it was very late and damage was done. But he was obviously there to just keep control of things. But he's the kind of player that Pirates cannot just keep on the bench for 90 minutes.
That's a big call, Shakes. That Marks thinks Mbule will be benched for this game. He was on the bench for both cup games when he came against Sundowns last time. I mean, are you worried about him starting with a point to prove? He's a bit inconsistent, but if he's on his game without Mokoena, he could actually run the show on Saturday.
Yeah, really believe he's a quality player. A player who a lot of players think is similar to me in terms of the style of play. So I also really like the Master Chef. I think he's a quality player, and I wouldn't be surprised, Bramax, if they start with him. Looking at the last game, he played a couple of minutes, and came on just at the end just to control the game. So I wouldn't be surprised to see him in that starting lineup. I think he's the type of player who can handle that pressure, and he's a big match temperament. We've seen him for Bafana as well, how he's just come in and he's fitted in like a glove. So yeah, but I'm sure the boys will deal with him, because we're playing at Loftus Versfeld. That's a slaughterhouse, I think Pirates have got nightmares when they think of what happened to them in the past. They had Loftus. So yeah, as much as Pirates have got that firepower, those youngsters are running riot right now. Very impressive, everybody's fighting for a place in the team. That Pirates, nobody seems to be owning a jersey there. The coach is giving everyone a chance. So it's going to be a very, very interesting game, But I believe in my boys. We own this league. We own this premiership, and coming to the slaughterhouse in Pretoria, it's going to be fire, yeah?
Talking about owning the Premiership, the interesting part is that Pirates is now out of CAF. So everyone started talking the league now. They say, now we can focus on the league. Now, this is the time where we can now all go and say, can they focus on the league? Can this be the moment? And it will be obviously proven on Saturday. And this is going to be a moment where all these youngsters, speedy youngsters, have to take on that Sundowns defense. But as for the Pirates attack, it's unbelievable. I mean, the youngster Appollis, Moremi up front, unbelievable. Sebelebele. And these are the youngsters that have just come from other teams. And when they got there, they just hit the ground running.
Yeah, they've been so impressive. They all came. They didn't even. Quite a lot of those players have already beaten their goal records from last season, and we're only in October at the moment. They're flying at Pirates. Marks up front is that number 9 position. It's been changed a lot at Pirates this season. There's been evidence. Magopa, Mabasa scored his 50th goal. I know you got 40 goals in a Pirates shirt, but he wasn't even in the squad the other day. There's Mbatuma. At the start of the season, Radio Pano was playing. Who would you go with that number 9, knowing that if Pirates win this game, they go level with Sundowns with 2 games in hand? That's a huge statement if they can actually win and not play for a draw, but actually get a win at Sundowns.
I would definitely start with Magopa because, he is one of those guys that don't just let the defender settle. He runs around, he's bully. Aerially, he is strong. And then on the feet, he's just sometimes not even controlling the ball. And he just gets there and disturbing the defenders. And before you know, Appollis picks it up. And last time I made a joke when he tried to trap a ball and Appollis just took it and put it in the back of the net. And I thought, do we call it an assist or what? Because it was an unintended assist. But that's him for you,
control, and Appollis whipped it in the top corner. Shakes, are you a bit worried about this Pirates attack? Because Sundowns are playing so narrow. Pirates have all these wingers. They've got Hotto flying forward from one side. Sebelebele played right back the other day. They could have those 2v1s on the sides. Are you a bit worried? I mean, who's going to track Hotto in the Sundowns team? Is it going to be Sales who's trying to defend? Are you a bit worried about that shape against all this width and speed from this young Bucks team?
Yeah, those youngsters are very quick. I saw them. When was it? Last night when they were playing Magesi, really speedy, and it's a bit of a worry for me at the back. I don't have that much speed, but I've got the brains, and I've got players there who can control the game. We've got timing, the likes of Yokoza. I expect him back in this fixture. The youngster, I think is a quality player, and it's his time to shine in a big game like this, So yeah, I think I can deal with Pirates' a speedy attack. Grant, it's all about the experience, of playing in these big games. And I think I've also got 1+ over with my coach. It's his second season here, Cardoso now. He should know what it takes to play in big games like this. I hope he won't be trying to defend a 1-goal lead, I think we've made those mistakes before. Pirates is going to come. They want to show that they are hungry to win this league, so it's going to be important for us to show them that we are the champions, and we must take the game to Pirates. They're coming to our home. We must take the game to them, and we must make those young boys run like headless chickens without the ball.
But you mentioned your coach. This record of Sundowns, that there was 10 games in a row in the league with no defeats to Pirates. That record was ended last season with Cardoso in charge. So, Marks, there's something to take confidence from there. Even with the young defense, with Mbokazi and Siema there, they're going to be confident Pirates. They're going to be swinging those big switches of play out to the wingers. There could be a lot for Sundowns to worry about with those sort of the older legs trying to get across this pitch on Saturday.
Yeah, in fact, you've just nailed it on the head, because if you think of those passes from Seema and Bogasi, especially from deep, there's quick youngsters. They know when to start taking off, because I've noticed none of them gets offside from those passes, but they are played right across field. And once it lands on them, it's something else. And as for Bogasi, nobody's talking about the battle between him and Nuno Santos, because that Bogasi put Ribeiro in the pocket, despite Ribeiro being a player of the season. But this time he's got a new sort of South American friend, and he's going to now make sure that he welcomes him in South Africa.
Yeah, it's a good point, Shakes, because if Nuno Santos gets the ball between the lines and Bokazi stepping up aggressively there, it could be a bit of a new thing for him to face, having come from Portugal with lots of nice technical players. Could be difficult for him with some of those physical challenges, or even with Nemtajela, who's been playing so well in the Pirates midfield. They're definitely going to be physical with him. And there's a chance for someone like Nemtajela to kind of get himself in that AFCON squad. Are you confident with Sales and Santos physically in this game? Are they going to dominate finding those holes, or they're going to struggle maybe and hide a little bit?
Yeah, no, I believe they're quality players, they're experienced players who played in the highest leagues. Portuguese first league is not child's play. Nuno is a quality player. Even when I saw his clips before he came to Sundowns, you could see that he's a very smart player, knows his way around the field. So if Mbogazi is going to track him and come down, he's going to open space behind. And there's Shalulile there, who's also another record goal scorer who will cause damage. I think he's coming into his confidence, having scored the last game. So, Pirates have also got a lot to deal with when it comes to defending. Nuno is very smart with the passes behind. And, Matthews is making those runs. He's one of the smartest players in terms of positioning himself. Just my worry is that he finishes those chances when he gets them. I think that's the only missing thing with Matthews. Quality player. I think he's putting his hand up to say, hey, Coach Hugo, I'm available as well for selection, but he's just got to put the ball in the net when he gets those chances. I believe we going up front, we're very solid. Bogazi, quality player, but I think he's going to come short in Pretoria.
Sheikh, I just want to make a point on Sheikh. Sheikh, I just want to find out from you. Are you not worried about Sundowns who are not dominating in terms of dictating terms, keeping possession like they used to? The last 3-4 games, I was wondering, why are they starting to play these funny long balls? It's unlike Sundowns. Because I would just adjust my chair, and after reclining, then they playing a game that makes me sit right up. Why? What have they lost there?
Yeah, Ramax, the new coach is coming up with his ideas. A lot of us Sundown supporters, we love the shoeshine and piano, which we are used to. Lots of players come in at Sundowns and they gel because of the style of play that Sundowns has always been playing. But lately, yes, the coach has come up with different tactics, more defensive, maybe because to win the Champions League, maybe that's why he's coming up with that style. But a lot of supporters were not happy with the style of play, even when we win. But I have to say that definitely the past game, the boys really played well in terms of putting the ball down and being more patient and playing from the back, more like the Sundowns we are used to. So this game is definitely going to be a determining factor whether we are carrying on with that momentum of the style of play that we normally used to.
Yeah, against Remo Stars, I realized that they were starting to knock the ball around. And I thought, this is the Sundowns I know. And that is why they got the results. Because before Remo Stars, they were starting to chase, to just play those straightforward balls and to spaces. And this channel balls is not Sundowns' game.
I think it's a fair point. Let's see how that plays out. Shakes, let's get your prediction for the game. Will Sundowns win? Will they get a draw and keep that advantage? Or will they lose at Loftus? You said definitely not, because that's the slaughterhouse. What's your prediction?
definitely at the slaughterhouse. We're going to slaughter Pirates. We're going to bring them back to size. It's going to be 2-1 to Mamelodi Sundowns.
And for you, Marks, do you see Pirates going there, getting at least a point, maybe more?
They will definitely get a point. In fact, they can get 3 points. I'll tell you why. Because the pace will just be unbearable. And I hope the sun is also going to be unbearable. Then the Sundowns defenders cannot stand the heat, both on and off the field. So that is something I'm looking forward to.
Thanks so much for joining me, gents. Massive game on Saturday. It's going to tell us so much about where the title's heading. Let's chat soon. Cheers.